but nowhere did I say anything good about the shooter. Nowhere. The people that disliked my video are supporting the mass shooting. But if you don't say it, if you don't say the most obvious thing, people are like, oh, so you support it. And it's like, no, we don't. There's nothing I can do to make them not have PTSD. Wow, Nano, I can't believe you glorified this. Haha, you're an idiot. So it doesn't make any sense. Where were the good guys with guns? They were outside letting everything go down. Okay, this is really important, all right? Listen, I hope you guys are listening. This is super important. This is about my last video. So my last video, I talked about my mental state before I transitioned, how it was not good. And a lot of people got mad that I was talking about also the current event, like all the shootings and stuff. People are like, you're not allowed to talk about it because it's so sensitive and it's new. But that doesn't make any sense. I've seen multiple people that are like,
yeah, you're not allowed to talk about it. It's sensitive.
But it's like, we should be able to talk about it. Why would we be quiet about like certain things like that? That doesn't make any sense. Everybody hates what happened and everybody should be allowed to talk about what happened. Does that make sense? A couple of people in my comment sections were like that. Like, maybe it is in poor taste. Maybe you don't like what I said, but I'm not glorifying anything. Somebody thought I was glorifying the shooter, but nowhere did I say anything good about the shooter. Nowhere. They're just being like, oh, you're talking about it? You're glorifying it. I didn't give the name or anything about it. Just maybe the location, but that's kind of it. I think it's so stupid. We should be allowed to talk about this kind of stuff. But it could be that some of the stuff that I said, maybe like it doesn't sit well. That's fine. I'm not funny. I totally get that. That is totally okay. Maybe I'm not funny. That's fine. But we should be able to talk about this. And then they were also mad that while I was talking about this sensitive subject, I made light-hearted jokes about myself because I was in a bad mental place. And I'm like, looking back, I was cringe and I'm an idiot. And they're like,
you're not allowed to make jokes
while talking about something sensitive. When in reality, every single content creator that reviews this, every single podcast that reviews this, even the Stephen Colbert news report thingy, everybody made jokes around the situation. Nobody was making direct jokes about the specific situation, just stuff around it, like how the cops didn't do anything, how like the lawmakers aren't doing anything about it. And that's okay to joke about that because it's so ridiculous and so stupid. But there's certain people that are like, nope, nothing at all. Just shut up. It happened. That's it. No one's allowed to talk about it. And that makes literally no sense. I hate that so much. You ever make jokes about heavy stuff? Yeah, that's just how you cope with it. In therapy, it's called coming up for air. After experiencing or talking about something really heavy and emotional, you'll do like small, like lighthearted jokes as a way of coming up for air. That's just normal. But this person was like, nope, you're not allowed to talk about it. Nobody is. Okay, there's like an 80% like to dislike ratio on this video. That's pretty good. That's like a B+. Somewhere between 80 and 90, right? The people that disliked my video are supporting the mass shooting. They're saying that don't talk about it. Just let it happened. Don't talk about it. That's so freaking bad, dude. That's so bad. Freedom of speech allows us to talk freely? Yes, but to a certain extent, you know? It's only a couple of crazy people that are like, you're not allowed to talk about it. And it's like, yeah, we should be allowed to talk about it, you weirdo. End of the news report. It's not even a news report, it's that it's huge. This affects everybody. Because we've all seen it, and it keeps happening, so we should be able to talk about it. I think they might secretly be comp sympathizers and they get mad. I think they're just really, really sensitive, I think. Maybe not sensitive, I know what it is, but it's really weird. It's uncomfortable. Some people get up by being argumentative. Exactly, it makes them feel more virtuous by implying that someone else is sensitive by then toxic. It's super toxic. And we all can agree that the situation is bad, but how many times do we have to say that? It's already implied. Nobody supports that kind of behavior. But if you don't say it, if you don't say the most obvious thing, people are like, oh, so you support it. And it's like, no, we don't. Hot take. Some people deal with grief by starting arguments. I guess that's a way how someone copes with it. I got most of that off my chest. That makes sense. I'm not crazy, right? I'm not
crazy, right?
Somebody commented that, how do you think the victims feel about somebody covering the shooting? How do you think the victims feel about it? And I'm like, they're gonna feel bad. If they see any news reports about what happened, they're gonna feel bad. They're gonna have like PTSD. If they see like a video game where they're like shooting people, that's gonna cause them to have PTSD. There's nothing I can do to make them not have PTSD. If anything, my video is like promoting mental positivity and being like, hey, this is what happened to me, and this is how I dealt with it, and it worked out at the end. But then people are like,
no, you can't do that. It's gonna trigger the PTSD victims.
And it's like, everything is gonna trigger them. Literally everything. If anything, mine is like the least triggering thing, at the very least, and they're not even gonna find my video. I don't make money from my YouTube videos. I don't get any clout off of it. The discoverability is kind of like bleh. And most people aren't gonna relate to my experience. People are gonna think that I'm crazy. Like, growing up, I was super sad and like, I wanted
Bad things to happen.
and people are like, Nano, that's bad. And I'm like, I know it's bad. I dealt with it. Nothing bad happened. No one's probably, there's very few people that are going to relate to that. But the people that do relate to it, there's a solution. There's a way out of it. When someone disagrees with me, I like it when they're respectful and not really emotional, being like,
Wow, Nano, I can't believe you glorified this. Haha, you're an idiot.
and it's like, no, you can just talk to me. My DMs are open. I see almost every single DM. Maybe not instantly, but eventually I will see it. Every content creator sees most of their DMs. And it's hard to reply to all of them, but it's easy to like scroll and like quickly read like the surface level or the last message they sent. You guys want to talk about something stupid? Something that's really stupid that I saw. You guys know the cops that prevented, not really prevented, but while the shooting was going on at the school, the cops were standing outside doing nothing about it. And apparently 40% or some sort of like really large amount of money or budget went to that police department. Out of the entire city, they took like 40% of the budget and didn't even do anything about the shooting. I feel like that's so painful. Like every single time you hear a gunshot, you know it's at a student, it's at a child. Every single time you hear shooting, it's a child being shot at. And these cops are just outside, just listening to that, not doing anything about it. If you guys have ever bought like tactical gear or like anything like pepper spray or something cool like that, you have this fantasy in your head where you're like, oh, if somebody breaks in, I'll be able to run to my shelf, grab my thing, and do some karate and stop the intruder from happening. I'm sure all these cops have had these fantasies about how to stop like an intruder or something, but none of them did anything. It's so bad. And they think people with guns, good guys with guns, can stop bad guys with guns. But that didn't happen at all. So it doesn't make any sense. Where were the good guys with guns? They were outside letting everything go down. That just frustrates me. That messes me up so hard. But we definitely need some sort of restriction. We can't eliminate all weapons all at once. We can't just instantly be like, gone. We have to do some sort of restriction or something. We have to slowly make our way through. And the cops, they were all decked out in their gear and they had like armored vehicles and they weren't doing anything with it. It's so bad. And they were preventing normal people from going in, which is good, but it's just like, someone has to do something about it. This coverage I've been watching with interviews from the victim parents have been messing me up. Oh, those are the worst. Especially, I saw an interview where one of the kids survived and he was talking about his experience. And it's like, he has like first-hand experience of what went down. That is messed up. Not the gear, not the training. That is the worst part. They did have the training. They've been training for something like this for a very long time. I don't know if this tweet is right or wrong, but they have like evidence or something. But they've been like training for this moment for like a very long time. For the past 2 years, has hosted at least 2 active shooter training days. One of them was 2 months ago. They had training on this 2 months ago. Stop the killing. Officers' first priority is to move in and confront the attacker. Stop the dying. They didn't do anything. They waited for like an hour and then they were able to do something, but it wasn't even the cops. Wasn't it like a border patrol person? They had training, priority of the life. It's their job to put themselves in place in harm's way and display uncommon acts of courage to save the innocent. That didn't happen at all. They were too afraid of being shot at. And I get that. Everybody would be afraid to get shot at. But that's their job, is to prevent something like this. They have the training to do something about it. It's that part really kills me. That messes me up. That they had training on this and didn't do anything about it. I'm wondering if maybe there was like one captain, one police guy who was like, if you guys go in there, you're fired or something like that. Maybe there's one person in charge that prevented everything from going down, who had like a lot of power. Because there's no way everybody agreed to not do nothing. There's got to be someone who's like, nope, don't do it or you're fired. But they had training on it that specifically says stop the killing and what to do. It's all there. When a bunch of those kids were calling 911, yeah, throughout the entire like 40 minutes to like 60 minutes, however long the thing was, there was kids in there calling 911 and they were asking for help and the cops didn't want to help them. That is painful. You see the trauma doctor said about the 556 wounds? 556? Is it 556? You say 556. That's what we said in PUBG. 556. What did he say about the wounds? That they absolutely shredded the kids to a point where they couldn't be recognized? That's so sad. So they had to start doing DNA testing. I heard that, so the parents didn't have to see them. That is brutal. That is the most brutal thing ever, dude. Everybody has their opinions on guns, but do we need civilians to have access to that type of weaponry? I just feel like we don't need civilians to have this sort of access. Clearly, it's not working out. But I'm in the favor of like civilians don't need like automatic rifles, right? I think most of us can agree with that. Most of us would be like, yeah, maybe somebody who's trained, maybe like a military personnel should be allowed to carry something like that, but not a civilian. Civilians mostly can't get automatic rifles. This kid did! That's what I understand. People say stuff like that, but it's like, this kid was able to. He just turned 18 and he bought it. And supposedly, somebody who knew the shooter was like, oh no, this kid wasn't bullied. He was just crazy. Like, he would like torture animals and stuff, and he was always kind of deranged. He wasn't bullied. He was just like really weird and made everyone uncomfortable. There's nothing that we can do. Everybody listening, there's nothing that we can do. That's why we vote people in. We vote somebody in who can do something about it, but it seems like no one can. Still nobody can for some reason. None of us. It'd be really stupid to have people at school do like a walkout and be on strike. Why would you want kids to be on strike? They should be doing important stuff like going to school or something. We shouldn't have to sacrifice their education so they can go on strike. Same with people that are working jobs. They shouldn't have to sacrifice their livelihood to go on a strike. This is why we vote people in. It's so stupid. And it doesn't seem like we're gonna do anything. I think that restrictions would not work in the US unless it was on a federal level. Yep. I guess that's pretty much it for that conversation. If we go any further, we're just gonna keep looping.